The Pro Bowlers Tour is in beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico at Leisure Bowl and the PBA Albuquerque Open. It's the second of 8 nationally televised events here on ESPN. An interesting show this afternoon. 20 titles among the group of 5. Actually, one player has won 20 titles, that being PBA Hall of Famer Brian Voss. He has been a top player on tour for the past 16 years. Our other 4 finalists, all looking for their very first PBA championship. Included in that group, an All-American at Wichita State, a great amateur player for many years, Chris Barnes. It's PBA action from Albuquerque. Next. Oh, just a picturesque view, like dusting of snow on the Sandia Mountains surrounding Albuquerque, the northeast side of Albuquerque. We're at Leisure Lanes in Albuquerque for the Albuquerque Open. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Ferguson, along with my broadcast partner, PBA Hall of Famer Marshall Haugen. What an outstanding finals field of 5 we have for you this afternoon. Welcome to the Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN. In our top spot, his first ever televised appearance, a very versatile player, Chris Barnes, certainly a great collegiate player, PBA ranking 23rd right now, making his first ever career TV appearance. Our second-seeded player, winner of 5 regional championships, the Chief, Brian Himmler. In the number 3 spot, our lone PBA title winner on the telecast, inching his way toward the $2 million career earnings mark, Brian Voss. And in our opening match, 2 non-winners, Michael Haugen Jr. from Livermore, California. From the other side of the country, Flushing, New York, Tommy Delutz Jr. And Marshall talked to Delutz about his opponent in the opening match.
Well, Michael is a classic down-and-in, very straight player. If anyone's going to have an advantage early on in the match, or on the show, actually, it'll be Michael, because his ball won't read the wild lane transitions as everyone else will have to go through.
And it should be interesting, Marshall. Boy, I can't remember the last time we had 4 non-winners on the show.
Well, it was in Seattle in 1993, so it's been quite a long time. And this is going to be a very interesting match, Phil. We've got Tommy Delutz Jr. up on lane 23 playing the extreme inside line. As you can see, his ball inside the 5th arrow. Powerful strike.
And then from Michael Haugen, a little bit different approach.
Michael Haugen is playing a very straight up-the-board shot, going, the ball probably hitting around the 7-8 board at the arrows, not unlike the way Walter Ray Williams likes to play the lanes. And for you Walter Ray Williams fans, he took this week off. He'll be at next week's tournament in Dallas.
Nice shot out of the gate from Haugen. Come on. The lanky lefty, 5'11", 155, and he's getting himself pumped up.
Come on. Let's go.
Averaging 214 last year in 563 games. We're going to get a glimpse of some solid young players out here on tour.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I talked to Michael earlier. He told me, he said, if I get it going, you won't have to do much work, Marshall. I'll do all the talking for you. So let's listen in and see what Michael has to say about this shot.
Come on. Come on. Yes, baby. Come on.
Letting his ball do the talking. Comes out the gate with the double. Tommy Delutz now trying to answer.
And take a look as Tommy Delutz stands. If you see this shot, just a powerful, coming from the outside line, able to knock the ball down. Watch where Tommy is standing. He's actually in front of the ball return. Inside that 5th arrow, swinging the ball out. And a solid 10. Great shot, tough reaction.
Delutz, 5'11", 175 pounds, been out here 9 years. He has 10 regional titles.
You see the 6-pin going around the bottom of the 10, does not knock it down. Those 10 regional titles for Tommy Delutz. He actually won a couple in a row during the break, so been bowling very, very good.
Going to that spare ball, straight and hard. Knocks it into the back of the pin deck. So Tommy Delutz, a strike spare. Haugen with a double in the opening match here in the Albuquerque Open. Nice to have you by. And we talked about national championships. Only Brian Voss has won among our 5 players 20 titles, but Mesa regional titles 16 among the group today.
Well, a lot of good players, good young talent. And it's interesting to see, some different faces on our tour, and faces that I think you're going to be getting used to as the years progress.
Fast 8.
just a little high in the pocket, but really a shot that could have struck. And you know, I watched last night as Tommy was bowling in the final games of match play, and really he made a lot of really good shots that didn't strike, and I believe that had a lot to do with the fact that he might have been a little bit nervous, a little uptight, wasn't able to get the good loose roll on the ball. So that's what he needs to do right now, and forget about what Michael Haugen's doing. Just play your own game, Tommy. Sticks at the line, but makes the spare.
Delutz down early in this ball game. Haugen with a double to start the match.
We see the 4 and the 7 being taken care of by Tommy Delutz. Once again, Michael Haugen. You see how straight up the corner of the lane he plays them.
Oh, come on, Davey.
Trips the 4.
Come on. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Come on.
Take a look at Michael Haugen. You can see he does not wear bowling shoes. He actually wears tennis shoes to bowl. Does not like to slide. And I'm telling you, if you wear those shoes, you're not sliding at all. And where Tommy Delutz got the bad break, leaving the 4-7, Michael Haugen got the very good break, tripping out the 4 in the 3rd frame. Now with a 22-pin lead, looking to take it up 10 more with the strike here in the 4th.
Come on.
Not to be, so Haugen, after a 3-bagger to start this opening match, leaves just the 4-pin.
Well, coming in a little light, did not get enough of the head pin, shakes him around a bit. Fortunate, the 8-pin falls. That makes it a very easy spare for Michael Haugen. And he makes it interesting as he just barely touches that 4-pin, but able to knock it over. Right now, Michael Haugen, 21-pin leads up on Tommy Delutz Jr. We'll be right back.
Well, just beautiful here in Albuquerque, Marshall. First time I've had an opportunity to be here in Albuquerque. Just gorgeous.
It's a pretty city. I love the mountains. A lot of good skiing here in the New Mexico area. Taos.
Tommy Delutz down by 21. He's up in the 4th frame. You can pick up those pins in a hurry.
As we see how Tommy made his move up the ladder to get to our top 5. Got a hook. And you know what? I hope that Tommy doesn't remember what he said in that interview last night about him having a little bit of a disadvantage, or Haugen maybe having an advantage, as that ball just comes in a little bit light. The lanes were difficult at the start of the of every round, every morning round. The scores were very low.
Delutz 2 and 7 on TV with just a 197 average in 7 appearances. However, in the TV pair this week, his average 230. Brings it back and picks it up.
Tough spare, takes care of it. As Michael Haugen walking over to sit in another chair, gives him 5 as Tommy picks that up. So good sportsmanship between these two players, but boy, you know they want to beat each other's brains out.
Once again, these two players looking for the very first PBA championship. In fact, we have 4 on the show today, looking for their first win and a shot in the Brunswick TFC.
You know, and we didn't have a new champion all last year. We started out last week by having a new champion in Jason Hurd, and certainly looks like there's a great chance for that to happen again this week, although Brian Voss will certainly have something to say about that coming up shortly. Well, here goes the highlight film. You know, you go light on one lane, you kind of make a subconscious adjustment, you come high on the other lane, and right now for Tommy Delutz, he needs to get his composure. We'll take a look at Tommy Delutz. Look how his sliding foot is. It's over the left channel. I mean, he's really playing the lane very, very deep, and he looked pretty good in practice too as he goes to that harder ball, very straight to try and convert the 610. He does it.
What kind of moves do you think he's making out there? And are they drastic moves?
Well, I don't think he's making any big moves right now. He practiced for an hour prior to the telecast to get himself lined up. And as I said, he looked good in practice, but right now, coming a little light on one lane and subconsciously making the adjustment coming in high, as Michael Haugen has a very, very good opportunity to build on his 25-pin lead.
Come on, hold. Oh, baby.
Oh, he likes it. Why not? A big strike. Hey, show your PBA loyalty by becoming a member of the PBA Fan Club. Fan Club members receive quarterly newsletters, which include the latest inside information on the PBA tours, tips, interviews with the pros, discounts on PBA merchandise, contests, and much more. Membership just $14.95 plus $3 shipping and handling. It also includes a PBA decal. Now to join, call 1-800-380-2682. The first time in about 5 years that the PBA has had a fan club. A lot of fun. Get the latest PBA information and some great merchandise.
Oh, come on, baby. Come on! Yeah! Come on! Let's go.
He knew the shot was great off his hand. That ball he threw as good as he wanted right there. That's as good as he can throw the ball. He's got the line. He knows exactly what he wants to do. The shot before, Phil, that's the one he got away with. He pinched the ball in a couple of boards left. He's got a little area out there, and area is what every bowler is looking for, whether they're amateur or pro.
Delutz down 35. Sent it out, never came back.
And right now, Tommy, unfortunately, looking a little prophetic, as he did say that Haugen could have an advantage. Right now, it certainly is showing up.
Two-time All-American, William Patterson College. Boy, a good-looking, once again, good-looking young bowler. And we'll see him many more times. You get in a situation like this, sometimes you're not quite sure.
Yeah, and now you saw him just a little while ago putting a piece of tape in the ball. Maybe lost that last shot a little bit. Needs to get the ball left of the head pin. More left than that. Wasn't able to knock the head pin into the 10. And now it's a 49-pin lead for Michael Haugen. And Tommy Delutz, 220, I believe, the best he can do right now. Michael Haugen already going at a 228 pace. You could see, just didn't get the ball far enough left. Not able to throw the head pin into the 10.
Delutz made 3 shows last year, finished second in Bay City, Michigan, 4th place finish in Portland, and in the Japan Cup, he finished 6th. They take 6 players in that tournament. A little better release.
Well, great shot, and there's a little wry smile. Finally made the shot I wanted to make and leave a ringing 10. What do you have? You know, it's like, what do you have to do? You see the ball going over the 27th board. It's inside the 5th arrow. There goes his, not his friend, the 6th pin, because it does not touch the 10. Right around the bottom.
Able to convert the 10-pin spare. So Tommy Delutz down by a bunch here in the opening match of the Albuquerque Open. You never know. Come on back. Tommy Delutz has to get going, but first up, Michael Haugen, who has a comfortable 49-pin advantage, Marshall.
And for Michael Haugen right now, just a matter of trying to keep doing what he's been doing, because he knows he's got tough competition coming up in the next match, should he get there. This match is not over yet, however, Haugen very comfortable.
Fortunate on that one, Marsh.
Well, similar to the last shot he threw on lane 24, got the ball in just a little bit left of his target. He does have a little bit of room left, but not quite this much. Fortunate only to leave the 4-pin. You see the 9, the last pin to go. Don't want to be shooting any splits and letting Delutz back in the match.
Picks it up, picks up the spare. And for the young Haugen, he enjoys playing on the computer, spending time with his girlfriend, Kim. I don't think necessarily in that order. Maybe his girlfriend first. I'm not sure. And when the last person that wore tennis shoes, by the name of Burton, I believe, right? Or some players wear tennis shoes?
Yeah, Nelson Burton's brothers, Neil. Brother Neil, he did wear a tennis shoe when he bowled.
Just on the 1 foot. Big strike by Haugen in the 8th frame, but again, Haugen wearing tennis shoes.
Coming in a little bit light, but shaking them down.
And does he do that at every tournament, or does the lane conditions, the approach dictate?
He does it every tournament, and he likes doing that every tournament, too. Striking. Come on. Messenger tried to get back to the 10-pin, not able to do it, and Tommy Delutz has got to be shaking his head and wondering, what do I have to do to bowl a solid game on television?
Trails by 49. Once again, averaging just 197 on TV in 7 appearances for Delutz as he picks up the 10-pin.
And Tommy bowled a great game against our second seed Brian Himmler in at the Japan Cup. Lost 255, 233. So it seems like when he bowls really good, someone bowls better, and when he bowls bad, not much can be done.
You know all about that. You went through a little time there where just couldn't win.
I know all too well what it's like to lose on televised bowling matches.
But you won a lot too. Brings it back, leaves the bucket.
2, 4, 5, 8 on lane 23, and what looked like a pretty darn good game plan, playing that extreme inside line, is not paying dividends right now for Tommy Delutz. Head pin goes around the 2, the 4, the 5, and the 8, and not only do you leave yourself 4 pins to shoot at, but a pretty darn tough one, especially for somebody who's really just trying to get out of the way and not make too much of a mess in this game. There you go, Tommy. He seems to be in pretty good spirits.
Now for Haugen, he's got the game wrapped up. What goes through a player's mind?
Well, right now for Haugen, what's going through his mind as we see the bucket being picked up again is just to keep making quality shots. Now he's come in high 2 times in a row on this right-hand lane. He's thinking adjustments and Brian Voss right now.
Voss waiting Haugen. Voss, our only champion on the telecast, and he's won 20. PBA Hall of Famer, 16 years on tour, Brian Voss. But for Haugen, got to give a lot of confidence because he's thrown every shot pretty much in the pocket.
Looks very good. And he is a confident player.
Living the 2-8. Still, there's your winner, Michael Haugen. He finishes up in the 10th frame, and he will move on to face Brian Voss.
I'm sure if Walter Ray Williams right now is watching the telecast, he's probably saying to himself, well, I can do that. I should have been there. Important to make that spare. Michael Haugen did not want that to be the last full shot he threw on lane 23. Important to make a good shot here and really set himself up for the next match, as Tommy Delutz can only sit and watch and wonder when the next chance will be for him. Shouldn't be too long, Tommy.
Haugen scatters him. So Michael Haugen Jr. finishes up with a 236. We're at Leisure Bowl in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now a word from the Professional Bowlers Association. We're in beautiful Albuquerque for the PBA Albuquerque Open here at Leisure Bowl. Match 1. Well, see you later to Tommy Delutz. Michael Haugen rather. A big win, 238 for that victory for Michael Haugen. So an impressive win for the youngster and a couple of youngsters. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Ferguson along with Marshall Holman. And Marshall, watching Michael Haugen bowl, I'm trying to think, kind of reminiscent to another player a few years back, looks just like Marshall Holman. Boy, he's got that fire.
But, you know, Phil, when you're young, they call you cocky. And when you're a little older, then you become confident. Michael Haugen probably a little of both right now. And he's got quite a tough competitor to come up against Brian Voss, though.
Yeah, with Brian Voss, you have a player that's won 20 titles. The rest of these guys still searching for that first win. How important is this next match, Haugen against Voss, for Michael Haugen?
Well, I think it's very important for Michael Haugen. You know, everybody perceives Brian Voss to be the dominant player in this field of 5, and he is. But is he a definite to win? I really don't think so. Michael Haugen's bowling very, very good right now. We also have Brian Himmler, who certainly feels he's ready to win. He's the number 2 seed. And then we have the number 1 seed, Chris Barnes. So for Brian Voss, is he favored? Certainly. Does he have to win? I really don't think so. It's going to be a tough match. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see if Haugen can keep up that spontaneity and win another match. Phil, back up to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Marshall. So, boy, Michael Haugen, an exciting player with that 236 opening match win over Tommy Delutz. And Brian Voss will take a seat. It will be Haugen to throw the first shot in this second match of the Albuquerque Open. Match 2 for you. And we'll listen to this young kid, because when he lets it go, there's a little talking.
Come on, baby. That's how you want to
started off. Come on.
Right where he left off, Marsh. So now it's Brian Voss. And we may see different styles here. Voss likes to kind of not go totally straight, but he'll go a little straighter probably than Haugen.
Well, he'll be actually hooking the ball a little bit more than Haugen, but not hooking it quite as much as we saw the Tommy Delutz in the prior match. Playing near the center of the lane. And that's just Brian Voss's way of telling Michael Haugen that he's right there with him.
Stoic look from Brian Voss.
And a textbook shot from Brian Voss. Ball, the 1-3 pocket, high, flush, 10 pins in the pit. Great delivery, as you can see. 218+ average last year with over 700 games, so quality bowling for Brian Voss.
Second frame. For the Hall of Fame. Beautiful shot.
And take that, Mr. Haugen.
Well, Voss has been there many, many times. 70 appearances. 10 in the pit.
Brian Voss, this is his 70th career championship round as we take a look at the classic form of Brian Voss. Our other 4 bowlers, only 15 telecasts between them. That was left. Bad shot, Michael Haugen.
That was pretty bad.
Well, he got out of the gate early in the opening match, and really, Delutz never gave him a match.
Going with the straighter ball, able to make it. Very good spare. The scores were not as high this week as they had been in recent weeks. I believe our tournament leader averaged just right around the 220 mark. You know, many weeks out here, Phil, 220 won't even get you a check. So a very competitive, very tough condition, especially early in the morning, later in the afternoon and evening. The lanes opened up to a little higher scoring. Michael Haugen trying to get it back again.
Come on. That was a pure shot.
That's where the ball needs to be. Come on.
Michael Haugen said it. That's where the ball needs to be, and he put it right there in the pocket. Brian Voss, opportunity to take this 10-pin advantage to 20 with a strike up and a strike right here in the third frame.
He won a couple of tournaments from that third-seeded spot. Got it out, got it back.
Hey, this just in, Phil. Brian Voss is good.
It's got to be an interesting feeling for Voss being the only PBA champion among the 5.
Well, I think it puts more pressure on Brian because, as I said earlier, it's perceived that he should win. Lots of pressure. Brian right now he's trying to stay a little bit calm. As you see, member of our Hall of Fame doesn't want to get too excited too early in the match. Well, that'll get him excited. A 10-pin just falls a little bit late.
Wow, Brian Voss out the gate in match 2. 4 in a row, and Brian Voss now up by 30. Look at that shot. Oh, you got to come back for more of this. It's Voss going up against Haugen from Albuquerque. Brian Voss with 4 strikes to start this second match. He is up on Michael Haugen by 30. And Marshall had an opportunity to talk to Brian Voss on how important it is for him to keep his streak alive. He's won at least 1 PBA title in 12 straight years.
I want it more than anything in the world. Like I said, my time is limited. I'd like to win until I don't bowl anymore. But 3 more years with the talent that's out here, it's not going to be easy. I'm a very confident player, and I still work very hard. But I want that record. I mean, I really, really want that record.
I think Brian is he's a little too modest right now. I mean, I foresee him being a dominant player out here for a number of years to come. Stays in great shape, and right now, up by 30 pins. And even though it's just the 4th frame, very important for Michael Haugen to make a statement, especially on the right lane field. Had a little problem here of late. Better shot, but slower speed. Ball hit his target.
Doesn't move.
Looked like the speed was a little slow. He said he needs to make a move. And we'll see.
Haugen making his second career PBA telecast. He placed 5th in the Columbia 300 Open last year.
Michael Haugen's mother, Vicky Pinter, and with his uncle.
Cheering him on, he won the opening match, an impressive win. This junior, Haugen now, facing a tougher test, and Brian Voss, 5th frame.
And still in control of lane 23.
Boy, he mixed him up.
Great action. The ball coming in light. Just catches enough of the headpin. The headpin takes care of all the damage. The rest of the pins, knocks them all down. Voss currently working on 4 in a row. Haugen, strike, spare, strike, spare, strike. Not going to get it done against this man, Brian Voss.
What a classic style.
Voss starting to get the feeling of putting this man away early. 5 shots, 5 strikes. You notice as excited as Voss gets after the ball is delivered, he calms himself down immediately, knowing that he's got business to do.
Voss in the 6th frame, won 2 of his 20 titles last year. The Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open, also the National Finance Championship in Virginia Beach. That was a thriller over Walter Ray Williams Jr. Boy, he's averaging 238 on this TV pair.
Look out. That ball was headed right for the headpin high, but it held on. And he knows he stole one right there. Right here, the ball looks like it's got to go high, but it hangs on. Stops hooking. And here's a surprise, Brian Voss.
Yeah, that reaction at the end was like, hold off just a bit, and it did. Here comes Haugen, trying to answer in the 6th, trying to get a double.
Well, he didn't come up high.
Yeah, you said it, Michael. You made the adjustment to keep the ball from coming up high. The ball slid too far, leaving the 2-pin. And right now, Voss has 6 strikes. Haugen has 3. No doubles for Michael Haugen. The best he can do is 240 for Haugen. Brian Voss right now already working at a 249 pace.
Voss with 6 in a row.
For Haugen right now, there's no reason to be nervous. I mean, he's bowled one very good game. Brian Voss is throwing so many strikes right now. The pressure's really off Haugen. And it's becoming less and less with each strike, each shot that doesn't strike.
What happens? He threw such a great game, and now coming up a little bit light. What happens with the lanes and the oil out there?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with, we see the ball just coming in a little light, leaving the 2-pin. It has a lot to do with maybe the gentleman sitting down to his right, Brian Voss. He's bowling a seasoned veteran, a Hall of Famer, and I know from personal experience that I've gone from shooting 251 game to shooting 150 the next, and it does not take very much in just maybe a little change in speed or the way the ball comes off your hand, and all of a sudden you go from having the entire lane to having nothing.
Voss in the 7th frame. Nothing but X's. Making another one. And $10,000 extra payday for 300. I just had to bring it up. I
think it was very appropriate to bring it up then. Most of the players played the deep inside angle that Voss is playing right here. Great shot once again. Time to get excited. You know, we talked earlier about his sense of history. Well, how about the history of shooting a 300 game? You know, he would love to add that to an already stellar career with all the accomplishments he's had.
8th frame, Voss.
Disappointing. Solid 4-pin for Brian Voss. The 300 game is gone, but the win is pretty much assured. Ball just doesn't stop this time. The last shot on that lane, ball quit hooking. But you see the reaction. He's hoping, and nope.
Picks it up, so Voss going at a 259 pace. He's looks pretty good here in this second match. Brian Himmler awaits the winner of this match. We'll be back with more of the Albuquerque Open in a minute. time to get back to this match. Haugen, a little trouble here in match 2, Marshall.
Well, the best he can do is 229 right now. Brian Voss working at a 259 pace. You know, Phil, the oil was a little shorter this week, 4 feet shorter than it was last week. And what that did was it made things difficult in the morning because the backhand's hooked a lot. Speaking of hooking a lot, that needs to.
Well, that didn't work.
At least he's making adjustments and he's keeping himself in a good frame of mind. You know, not beating himself up.
Well, you learn from this experience, don't you?
Absolutely, and Michael is certainly not short on confidence. Certainly look to see him back here in the coming weeks.
Haugen up in the 9th frame. Tried something a little bit different.
I'm not sure why he would move on lane 23. He hasn't missed on that one but one time. We take a look at Michael Haugen with a little bit of fortuitous 6-pin pipping.
Is that a penalty?
Not at all.
Voss in the 9th.
Boy, he's so smooth.
Not today.
Boy, just beautiful to watch. Brian Voss is Michael Haugen. Congratulates Voss as he sits on the chair. So Voss will move on to face another exciting player, Brian Himmler.
And Brian Himmler has bowled in a lot of telecasts. Hasn't had his first title yet, but certainly a veteran of television bowling in a short period of time on tour.
Big strike for Brian Voss. He must be rooting for the Falcons, I guess. Coming up in a week, they take on. Oh yeah, Denver Broncos.
Yeah, just the Denver Broncos. Brian Voss, possible 279, really strike.
Right, there's your full 9.
Then next week we'll be in Dallas. Perfect warm-up prior to the Super Bowl.
Should be great bowling in Dallas and an exciting Super Bowl in Miami.
So Brian Voss, 260 plus, and he's going to give it a go. Asking the crowd, and they say, yeah.
If he makes it, 267.
Yes.
If he gets one, 266. Not really a big problem for Brian Voss. Great game.
Well, one step closer to winning his 21st PBA title. But you got a couple of tough young kids up in front. Brian Himmler, and then Chris Barnes on top.
Well, he moved in on the right hand. Looked as if Michael Haugen
pay attention.
Needed to play in on the right-hand lane and out on the left-hand lane. And he has learned something from this match against Brian Voss.
Another good looking young player out here on tour, Marsh.
Well, we've got a bunch of them.
For the average player, do you recommend tennis shoes? I mean, just...
Well, I'd have killed myself if I'd have worn tennis shoes. But, you know, right. I had a slide, you know, the big as Texas. But Michael Haugen doesn't like to slide. We've had other bowlers in the past. Another bowler that comes to mind, former PBA champion, former player, Bobby Jacks, who wore tennis shoes.
Charlie Lacey, did he?
There's another one.
So Brian Voss is the winner. We'll take on Brian Himmler in the Albuquerque Open. And Marshall Holman has another tip for you. That coming up when we come back. And in our second match, all Brian Voss strung the first 7. 9 strikes overall, 266 to 203 over Michael Haugen Jr. So Voss will move on to take on Brian Himmler in our semifinal match. Chris Barnes on top. Well, next Sunday at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific, ESPN's coverage of the Pro Bowlers Tour continues in Dallas. From Don Carter's Lanes, February 7th, Roger Bowker looks for an unprecedented 3rd Columbia 300 Open title. Live from Austin. And on February 14th at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, ESPN and the Pro Bowlers Tour celebrate Valentine's Day with the inaugural Chattanooga Open. Hope you'll join us over the next several weeks here on ESPN. It is the Pro Bowlers Tour. Now another Score More with Brunswick tip this week. Marshall talks about strengthening your game with a weakness.
Today's Score More with Brunswick tip deals with yet another way that you can make adjustments on the lanes. All too often, I'll watch players on the tour run from the bowling area into the locker room, pick up 2 or 3, 4 bowling balls, bring them back down, and try and change their reaction by changing the ball. Now, sometimes that works, but there's another way that I'm going to show you how you can change the reaction of the ball. And it's as simple as changing your hand position from a strong position to make the ball hook to a weaker position to make the ball go further down the lane and not hook as much. Now, my normal hand position is one of power, where I cup the wrist to make the ball hook back into the pocket. But sometimes that just doesn't work. And it's really not that difficult to change. Just move the wrist a couple of inches, and all you have to do is let the ball roll off your hand, a straighter trajectory, a whole new release. So as you can see, a subtle change in your hand position can make a big change in the way the ball rolls down the lane. Today, with reactive resin bowling balls, it's more important than ever. A weaker hand position can sometimes make for a stronger reaction at the back end of the lane. And don't forget to join me next week in Dallas, when I'll be back with another Score More with Brunswick tip.
All right, thanks a lot, Marshall. Always learn something from Score More with Brunswick tip. Coming up, that Brian song, huh? It's going to be Brian Himmler going up against Brian Voss. Coming up next, Brian Himmler against Brian Voss in the Albuquerque Open. But first, let's head to the stands. My partner, Marshall Holman, is in the stands, and I believe you didn't pay for that seat, Marsh.
No, I certainly didn't, Phil. I'm here with Chris Barnes, our tournament leader. And Chris, my question to you is, what took you so long to make your first telecast?
Well, I'd tell you what, the transition to coming out on tour is kind of tough. The competition is really strong, and you have to be at your best to make a TV show. And so it's taken me a while to get here. Made a lot of mistakes along the way. Hopefully I've learned from a few of them and can take advantage of them today.
Okay, now I watched you last night, and there was a lot of struggling going on. Kind of fell back early, but then you started throwing the ball with a lot of loft from deep inside. Is that a possible game plan for today?
It could be. It seems like the guys are playing a little bit further right than I've been playing most of the week, and pretty successfully. I'm going to take a look out there, but I'm also going to take a look at that line from deep inside over the left gutter cap that I've had some success with this week.
You got a 20-time PBA champion, Brian Voss, hoping to get to you. However, Brian Himmler, he's going to have something to say about that. He's been bowling very good. He's made a lot of telecasts. He hasn't won yet either. Who do you like in this match?
Tough to call. Both these guys are great players. Brian Himmler struck all week long, and I was fortunate last night to overcome him. And I like Brian.
He likes Brian. Well, you know what? So do I. Back up to you, Phil.
I'll go out on a limb. All right, Brian Voss against Brian Himmler. And it will be Voss to throw the opening shot here in the semifinal match of the Albuquerque Open. Voss, 266 to 203 over Michael Haugen. Voss loves that third-seeded position, won a couple of times last year from that third-seeded spot in Virginia Beach, and also the Johnny Petraglia Open in North Brunswick, New Jersey. So trying to do that this afternoon. The look of the champion. 20 times over. A little soft.
Well, didn't get to the line well, that shot. He was actually, the body got there before the arm swing did. He had to pull it through. Well, if we take a look, they're a little early, had to kind of pull it through, muscle the ball. Didn't work. Leads to 3 and a 6. Brian Voss, hard and straight at the 3-6. He makes it. He had a little problem last night, Phil. He strained his groin muscle just a little bit when he slipped on one of the approaches. Seems to be feeling good today.
You take a look at Brian Himmler, 5'9", 25 years of age, out of Cincinnati. Great-looking young kid.
And talk about power. Watch this ball come down. He shows us immediately. Ball goes from deep inside to far out, back in.
Looks like Nerf pins.
Just destroys the pin. Here comes that ball right into your living room. Looks like it's going in the channel, but it's coming back.
5 regional titles for Himmler, still searching for elusive the very first PBA win. as he hung around the top 5, really first or second all week long.
Going for the early double. Solid 10 for Brian Himmler. He made the shot he wanted to make. Let's take a look at the line he's playing. Deep inside, way out. Strong back end recovery on the ball, but it's a solid 10.
And we're going for the spare. He was voted the Headquarters Region Player of the Year in 1996. He's lined in early. So Voss up in the second frame after putting spare.
And Brian Voss on lane 24. 5 shots, 5 strikes.
Pretty good percentage.
He's 6 for 6 on that right-hand lane.
Running it out a bit.
We take a look at our proprietors of Leisure Bowl, Dick and Janet Tanner, and once again, I'd like to thank them for hosting us and doing such a great job. Looking forward to coming back again next year. Very hospitable here in Albuquerque.
Second consecutive year here at Leisure Bowl with a National Tour stop. Next year, the annual ABC tournament, including the Masters, will be in the city of Albuquerque. So the 2-4-5.
And it looks like everybody's having the same problem. After they win one match, Haugen wins a match, has trouble the next match. Voss wins his match. Now he starts out having trouble in this match. If it continues that way, it certainly looks really good for Chris Barnes because he only gets to bowl one match.
Picks it up. So the 2-4-5 standing pretty far left.
Trying to make sure he doesn't chop the 2-pin off the 5. Cutting down the angle. And speaking of angle, watch all the angle that this young man develops with his power. Starting the ball over the 5th arrow. Way out. Way back.
Was that a full rack? Oh. All of them in the pit, so Himmler strikes, spares, strike.
How close he is to the ball return as he starts his approach. And then foot over the, right over the channel.
Lucky they don't
the
have
left-hand channel.
Old-fashioned ball returns that go all the way up to the fountain. He'd have trouble.
Yeah, there's no way he could do it.
18 cashes, 25 events last year for the Chief.
He was quoted in the paper as saying he's been on television enough. He is not nervous. And there's a great shot. In fact, 4 of them, only that solid 10 in the second frame, keeping him from 4 strikes in a row. It's strike spare double for Brian Himmler and a 10-pin lead.
Voss working on a spare up in the 4th frame.
For Michael Haugen, it was the right-hand lane that he lost. For Brian Voss, he's having trouble on the left-hand lane. I think Brian would just soon just bowl every shot on that right-hand lane. That's 7 consecutive strikes on the right-hand lane.
Trying to make it a double for Voss in the 5th frame.
You'll see some emotion if he strikes on this ball. I really think that Brian had trouble in the first frame on that lane because he didn't get to the line properly, and I think he's made an adjustment for a bad shot instead of just trying to get out of the ball a little cleaner. That's what it's looking like.
Not struck on that lane in this ball game. 3 spares to go along with his 2 strikes.
And I would think because of the experience of a Brian Voss and the experience of Brian Himmler, the winner of this match is in very good shape to win this title. Not that Chris Barnes doesn't have a lot of game. He does, but he doesn't have the experience that even a Brian Himmler has. You can see Himmler highly ranked by the PBA.
224, 4 games on this TV player this week. And he's got 3 in a row now. Taking
advantage of the power. It's a good thing he doesn't have to play any deeper than he is, because he's already bouncing off that ball return. Sliding all the way in the left-hand channel. Almost throws it in the right. It comes back.
Himmler in the 6th.
Just keep applying the pressure. That's got to be what he's thinking. Just like that.
So he left a ring and 10 pin in the 2nd frame. Other than that, all strikes for Brian Himmler through 6. We'll be back for the conclusion of this match in a minute. In Albuquerque, beautiful in Albuquerque. Brian Voss going up against Brian Himmler, and look at that, Marshall.
Well, take a look. Brian Voss, 16 years of experience. The field has 16 years of experience. The 4 other players, 20 titles to none, and look at that earnings, over 100,000 more just on Voss's side. So to say he's the boss, I suppose that's an understatement. But right now, he's the underdog in this match because he can.
This is the lane.
You heard him. 24 easy lane, 23 difficult.
What kind of adjustment can he make? 23 just seems to have him baffled.
Well, he can move in a little deeper and throw the ball slower, sort of similar to what Himmler is doing. During commercial, he was standing there on lane 23, just sort of staring it down, trying to figure out what will work. It's very fleeting. You have it 1 minute, you lose it the next. And that is a terrible break for Brian Voss. High flush 10 pin. You'll very seldom see that.
Pins all just went back.
Well, watch as the ball enters the 1-3 pocket a little bit high, but certainly flush, and the 6 pin gets shoved in front of the 10 pin. Very unusual.
Able to convert. Well, that would have helped to double.
If Brian Voss wants to, and he certainly does, want to win this tournament and make it 13 years in a row early in 1999, he may need a little help from this man right here, Brian Himmler. He's not getting me.
Wow, that ball is strong. Well, he's found the key. He's locked in. Himmler with 5 in a row, and really could have been 7 because it was a ring and 10 pin in that 2nd frame.
Himmler working on a 239 pace if he were to spare here and then strike spare out. For Brian Voss, the best he can do is 230, so Himmler just needs to keep himself clean and keep marking, but he'd certainly like to keep striking and lock this match up as early as possible. Not only does he make good shots, he's getting the good roll of the pins, everything going Himmler's way. A 50-pin advantage over PBA Hall of Famer Brian Voss. You wouldn't think he would have got there, but watch this reaction. All right.
Brian Himmler taking charge here in the semifinal match. Voss.
You never miss it. Never miss that
He just stayed on that lane, he'd be in great shape.
9 shots on lane 24, 9 strikes on lane 24, and has not been able to catch a strike on 23 the entire match for any chance, Phil. This is certainly a must.
Can go off the shoe with 230. Brian Voss needs this one here, definitely.
Yeah, he did move in.
Still alive.
Barely. He did move in, gave the ball more room. Showed a little power of his own there on lane 23. He finally strikes there, but Brian Himmler certainly in control of this match. One more on this lane should do it.
You called it.
He's your winner.
Brian Himmler. Shoot 280. And he will take on our tournament leader, Chris Barnes.
And it's just a matter of keeping the ball on the lane right now, and it's happened every game. Haugen bowled great, Haugen struggled. Voss bowled great, Voss struggled. Himmler's bowling great, but will he struggle in the title match against Chris Barnes? Well, find out in a few minutes.
Himmler's been up his TV average after this ball game. He was averaging just 205, 6-7 record in 7 appearances.
You hate to do that. What Himmler just did in this last shot, he just basically threw an air ball. Ball went way wide, did not recover. Now he leaves a 1-2-4. That's not the problem. He doesn't need to make this to win the match, but you want to keep the momentum going. So it's important to make this spare so we can throw another shot, Phil, and have a chance to get himself lined up once again. Now you should concentrate on this next shot, Brian. It's important. Possible 257. Even if he throws the ball in the channel, it's 247. Voss' best he can do is 230. So the match has been won, but the tournament hasn't been won yet, and that's what he's aiming at.
Himmler again going for his first PBA victory. In fact, we are going to have another new champion
on consecutive weeks on our tour. And look at that. Now he's a little bit lost. If I'm Chris Barnes, I'm liking what I'm seeing right now.
Brian Himmler, 253, more than enough to defeat Brian Voss. So it'll be Himmler going up against Chris Barnes. Taking a look at what's happened so far. Tommy Delutz lost to Michael Haugen in the opening match, 236 to 158. Then it was all Voss in match 2 over Haugen, 266 to 203. And then Brian Himmler comes through with that big game over Voss, the final 253 to 230. So there's your tournament summary. We're just about set for the title match right now. Marshall Holman has a look at some of the other finishers this week.
Well, Steve Hoskins, he just misses. He went from 11th place to almost make it to the top 5. Doug Kent had a chance going in the last game, and he misses as well. Two very talented players. Danny Wiseman, you know, if he makes it to the telecast, he always bowls great, high winning percentage. And Rick Steelsmith, past Nagy Sportsmanship Award winner. Patrick Healy, there's a player you're going to see a lot of this year, and Mike Edwards, the only Pro Bowler ever to be inducted into the American Indian Sports Hall of Fame. Robert Smith, well, he was the runner-up for PBA Rookie of the Year honors last year. And Curtis Oden, another Nagy Sportsman Award winner, looking to get his first title. Jeff Lizzie, he has one title, a power player, and Brian Goebel, you know, he won the Tournament of Champions last year. Steve Jarris, he and his wife are expecting twins, so congratulations to June and Steve Jarris. And Jason Hurd, he won last week, the big cranker, as he paired up with Johnny Petraglia. Paul Fleming, he led the tournament last year with Dale Eagle, but didn't win, finished second. And Ron Morton, second-year pro, making his first match play appearance of the year. Lee Vanderhoff is a power right-hander who I want to see him make the top 5 because he's so fun to watch. Tony Reyes, another rookie on tour. David Wadka, in the process of relocating to Las Vegas, and 5 of his family members have bowled perfect games. And Mike Miller, the local Albuquerquean right here, had a good week. Jess Dayrook, he finished 24th, and our alternate was Ryan Schaefer, former Rookie of the Year, still looking for his first title.
And the title match, Brian Himmler against Chris Barnes. Himmler will start. And speaking of awards, of course, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Player of the Year, Chris Barnes, Rookie of the Year. And then you have somebody up here, Butch Soper, I believe, shared honors with Tim Chris, didn't he? Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award.
That is very true.
So congratulations to Butch Soper up here in the booth.
And nice to have him in the booth with us. Always gives us some great, insightful little ditties that we can throw on. And we've got Brian Himmler starting out on 23. Didn't look good on this lane the last frame, but he's back. And right now you have to make him the favorite. He has 7 career telecasts. And for Chris Barnes, it's his first time. Certainly has a lot of talent as he goes for that very deep inside line. And I think he's going to go for the long.
First shot for our tournament leader, Chris Barnes.
Ball does not quite recover. Back up to the pocket as he leaves the 2 and the 8.
You had mentioned Chris Barnes struggled a bit in practice.
Well, he did, and, you know, I'm seeing so many parallels between each game that we've had. We've had a bowler bowl a good game and then struggle. Good game and struggle. Barnes averaged 195 on the telecast pair. Himmler averaged 224, so there's another little edge for Brian Himmler. Important to start out with a spare. Nice recovery.
I love how he lifts through the ball. Another great-looking player.
Number 1 out of the way.
And there's Linda Norrie. Barnes' fiance, and Joy Barnes, Chris's mom. They're enjoying, but boy, they'd really love to see Chris win his first PBA title in his first ever telecast.
Cheer him on. Barnes up in the second frame.
On the left lane, which has become the tougher of the two lanes in the past couple of games. Or maybe not. Chris wants to get excited, and he will if his ball does this enough times today.
Himmler trying to make it a double. Couple of appearances last year, a third and a fifth place finish, 97 and 4 shows. Second, a couple of fourths and a fifth place finish. And he finishes that one off, a double for Himmler.
And Himmler is now 6 shots on lane 24, 6 strikes. Brian Voss was 12 for 12 on lane 24. So Brian and Brian like that right-hand lane.
Title match.
He's 4 for 7 on the left-hand lane, so he has missed here a couple of times, but boy, he looked good in the opening shot.
Remington.
Reminiscent of his last game where he made a great shot early in the match on lane 23, left a solid 10.
So Himmler, his highest finish, second, 97.
You'll take a look at the 6-pin, second from the right around the bottom of the 10-pin. Wiggled it a little bit. He thought he had it. Gosh, that was a good shot. Make your spare. He does. And for Chris Barnes, really, just what he needed was to have Brian Himmler sort of stop and give him a little bit of an early chance in this match. But it's hard to say what a youngster will do in his first time on a nationally professional bowling association telecasted tournament. 2 shots, one a little light, one just right. Let's see if he adjusts on lane 24. Boy, he cut right through the 1 and the 6, leaving the 1, the 2, the 4, the 6, and the 10.
Didn't like it off his hand.
Take a look at his form and profile. This was not the best shot he's thrown. High backswing. He didn't like the shot immediately, and he knew it was going to be light.
All right, how do we pick this up, Marsh?
2 ways. Either left of the head pin to make the head pin go in the 6 or the 10, or hard and straight, the ball between the 1 and the 3. We'll see what he chooses. Boy, just a little bit too much of the head pin.
And an open in the third, so he has 46 through 3, and Brian Himmler on top.
By 23 pins and early. And there's nothing quite like the feeling of just sitting there and having the, the match made that much easier for you. Brian Himmler appreciative.
Chris Barnes, a great amateur player, but your first nationally televised finals. How were you? Was it that much different?
You had to bring that up, didn't you? 1974 Tucson. I shot 149. Enough said.
That was striking on the 10th, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Enough said. The 2, the 4, the 10 for Chris Barnes. He's lost right now, and it's, boy, you have to hurt for him, but it's a learning experience. It's early in the match. This can be made. Needs to slide the 2-pin, hit the left-hand side of the 2-pin, slide it into the 10, too far to the left. Finds himself with 54 pins in the 4th frame. Last night in the position round, he found himself not quite in this dire of straits, but he was behind. He came back and was able to take care of business late. That's still hang, and that's fortunate. That very easily could have been the 2 and the 10, but just the 2-pin.
So Himmler trying to pick up the single-pin spare. Once again, his highest finish second. He lost to Pete Weber a couple of years ago. And congratulations to Pete Weber. He's going to be honored at an upcoming awards dinner in St. Louis. Be receiving an award, the Dr. Robert Highland Award for Meritorious Service for his contributions to the sport of bowling. And he's going to be in great company. Weber, along with Weber, you've got players like Mark McGuire, Ray Langford, Brian Jordan, Bob Gibson, Joe Torrey, all going to be there receiving awards. So congratulations to Pete Weber. And that'll be tomorrow night, Monday, at the Riverfront Hotel in St. Louis.
Well, I hope he will be flying down to Dallas on Tuesday to join us for next week's tournament.
Himmler with a spare in the 4th, but he leads by 34. back.
Keeping the pressure.
Again,
Chris Barnes.
Not a new champion all of last year, and already in 99. Jason Hurd last week, and we're going to have another one.
Well, we're setting a trend. Looks like Barnes has moved over just maybe another board or two to the left. Wants to make sure his ball doesn't get to that out-of-bounds area. Will that be high? High flush 9-pin and nothing.
Can't get me from both sides.
Nothing going his way. As he says he can't get you from both sides, what he means by that is bad shots are opens and good shots aren't strikes. Watch the ball as it goes past the 9-pin.
Picks it up high, finish on tour of 7th, so he's going to do a lot better than that this week here in the Albuquerque Open. He was voted the Bowlers Journal World Amateur of the Year as a rookie. This kid, what a great amateur career. Got to get it going, Marsh. Good shot last one.
Both these players are moving deeper and deeper left on the approach as the front end of the lanes dry up a little bit. He lost that ball. And almost another solid 9.
Come on.
Finally a strike for Chris Barnes. He trails by 34. He'll be right back to see if he can make the comeback. Either one of these players sitting down, they're both stalking the lanes, looking at the lanes, trying to figure out what it's going to take. Brian Himmler having a little trouble on lane 24 in the last frame, coming in light. This to take it to a 44-pin lead. Will he figure it out? Obviously.
Both players looking for their first PBA title, so... And you can't... This match qualifies for the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions.
Now, the great shot as you see the ball going wide and then back. You can't imagine the feeling of elation in winning your first PBA title. I know it's been a long time since I did that, but I remember, and it's something that whoever wins this tournament, they're never going to forget.
Himmler going to go one better, it looks like. His high finish.
Been close before. He has the experience of the two.
Beautiful.
With every strike, that much closer to being a member of a very, very nice fraternity of PBA champions.
So Himmler a double, then a 10-pin, picked that up, a 2-pin, picked it up, and now 3 in a row, and Chris Barnes has struggled, although the last couple of shots he threw in the pocket. Barnes up in the 7th.
In desperate need of a strike here. If he can throw the last 6, 224 is the best he can do. That's got to hurry, and that just about sealed the fate.
Bad ball choice.
Ball did not match up the way he wanted.
Stronger one.
You know, you only have so much time to make the decision as to which ball you want to throw. As you can see by the way he was discussing the ball choice he made, probably not the right one. And Phil, not only do you want to win, but boy, you want to make a good showing. And right now he's got 102 in the 7th frame. You know, be nice to see Chris throw a few strikes and, you know, bail this game out a little bit, because I'll tell you frankly, you know, and I've walked those shoes. It's embarrassing.
Barnes, Collegiate Bowler of the Year in 92, graduate, former All-America from Wichita State. He has a degree in business management. He's a very intelligent young player, and
he switched balls that time.
Chose the wrong one.
Went to the stronger ball, but...
And he'll be thinking about that, won't he, for a long time. Or maybe till his next telecast. That could come very quickly.
Or at least till the next tournament starts.
Brian Himmler looks like PBA win #1.
Bad shot, but probably won't make a lot of difference right now. Himmler's still in very good shape. He leaves the 3, the 6, the 9, and the 10. I do a little quick math. If he were to miss this, he'd be back around 210. And there's still a slight opportunity, but...
Boy, a great week here. The co-proprietors. Tremendous job, the Pro-Am.
And he will miss that, so Himmler will go down to 172 in the 8th frame. It would be the the collapse of all collapses if Brian doesn't win this tournament, and I'm really sure he will. If he were to open in the next frame, he'd be down to a 200 pace, and then if he were to open in the next frame, Chris Barnes was to strike all the way out. If you can do it with a pencil, you can do it with a bowling ball, but I don't think so.
Himmler taking a re-rack. I talked about the co-proprietors, Dick and Janet Tanner, here at Leisure Bowl. This is the second consecutive year for the tournament here in Albuquerque. The inaugural tournament won by lefty Ricky Ward. However, Ricky had to withdraw to the first 6 games of qualifying due to an illness, but a big strike in the 9th frame for Himmler.
It's over. That's the one he needed. He's your winner. I realized I was stretching things when I said that if he opened the last 3 frames and Barnes struck out, but that's over now, and right now for Chris Barnes, it's all about credibility. Come on, strike here.
Some days it is not yours.
He'll have others.
Barnes, the Rookie of the Year, will knock down that 10-pin.
Yeah, taking it in stages, Phil. You know, last year made a lot of top 24 appearances, but never made it to the top 5. Here early in 1999, he leads his first PBA tournament. It'll be a second-place finish for him, but there will be many, many more opportunities for Chris Barnes to win PBA tournaments.
Little off, bringing it back. Not all the way.
Still trying all the way through the 10th frame.
Boy, got all the good ones on less than one hand.
Not too many single pins missed, none this year, and that trend continues. 37 for 37 on our telecast.
Barnes lost from about the 3rd frame on, and threw a couple of good shots late in this ball game. So Himmler, the winner of the Albuquerque Open, his first career PBA championship.
Thanks, you were great.
A good sport. Proud mom and fiance.
Himmler with a strike.
Go ahead.
Job, Chief.
You can
Way to go,
smile.
man. You earned it. Both great.
So Himmler is the winner of the Albuquerque Open. Winner over Chris Barnes. Back in a minute. And we're back at Leisure Bowl here in beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico. Brian Himmler, the winner, 228 to 161 over Chris Barnes. Let's send it back up to the booth. My partner, Marshall Holman. Marsh.
Thank you, Phil. And now it's time for our Ginkgoba moment of concentration, and it was our champion, Brian Himmler, as he knew going into the 9th frame, all he needed to do was one more mark. He said, let's get it out of the way right here. Kept his form. Look at this ball hook back. Great shot, and that is today's Ginkgoba moment of concentration. Think better, think Ginkgoba. Back to you, Phil.
All right, thanks a lot, Marsh. I appreciate it. I'm here with Dick Tanner, co-proprietors, Dick and Janet Tanner. Nice, just a sensational week, Dick, and what great bowling by Brian Himmler.
Hey, thanks so much, Bill. Brian, you gave us a lot of entertainment. The fans are behind you. I'm sure you saw Chief up there in the stand. Let me present this trophy to you in behalf of all the fans here, and a check for $17,000.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Dick and Janet for having us here. It's been a great tournament. I'd also like to thank Storm and Bill Chrisman, my sponsor. Without them, I wouldn't be here. I'd also like to thank my mom and dad and my wife.